Another thing I would like to propose, how can you research together? It should be co-research, especially concerning Vipassana, right? How can we practice Vipassana more effectively? There's the way about talk about technique. I think Vice Director for Vipassana to Ravindra, he might be a co-researcher actually our college and your university as well. So that's it. I think it should be the good way.
Yes, our university also the validation master. Yes, we can exchange. Yeah, we can exchange the IBSC and the KBU. Yeah. Any suggestion? Dr. Zaw, please.
If I may, most venerable, because CRO and we had worked together for a long time in promotion of education in our country. Because as you know, education is the most important foundation for our society and humanity. And unfortunately, right now, as you said, we have been struggling with the conflicts, and then some of our schools are being closed because of the COVID, as well as the conflicts. So in that regard, what CRO and we discussed the day before that we arrived here is we would like to explore any educational opportunities. And then now that we have witnessed how you have conducted education, not just for the Buddhist studies, but also on the conflict studies for the global conflicts. So actually, Myanmar right now is suffering from the conflicts, and maybe perhaps this is where our student needs a lot of help. And so we will be very grateful if you would kindly consider having some scholarship or some sort of educational assistance for not just the Buddhist monks. Of course, CRO and the Chona Buddhist University, they have many Buddhist monks as the students, but also like your university, we also have many laymen students who can also benefit from coming out and learning. And then because we thought that Thailand is the most culturally very suitable, our students to come and study. And right now we need, some of the students need a little break so that they can actually learn peacefully. So we will be very grateful if you can kindly consider any scholarship opportunities, or of course Chona Buddhist University and Sitaku CROE could also help some of the students who are qualified to study at your university. That's a very first practical thing that we thought that we can propose to you. And then the second thing is, as you said, doing research together can be very appropriate. And then of course your interest in Vipassana, the practical way of achieving the objective of the Vipassana is also very relevant. And then of course in our country we have been practicing mindfulness during this time. And so I think this is something that we can work together. And then maybe perhaps we also are very interested about how your university and then also the propagation of the Buddhist studies and promotion of peace in Thailand is also achieved. Because right now our need is to to promote peace as much as we can, because right now we are struggling with rising tensions, and then there have been quite a bit of violence these days, and then so we also want to learn from you, your experience, and especially, I know a little bit of history because I used to teach in Chiang University 10 years ago. And I know that you also struggle quite a bit in the southern part of the country, and especially the Buddhist institutions and monks who are trying to promote peace have been also, being targeted, and so we are also experiencing some of these negative consequences recently, and so we also wanted to learn from you how we could also manage such negative consequences and try to win over with the positive message of peace. So probably Professor can also help us to learn from you. So I think that could be something. And then the last thing that Seattle and we had great end of discussion is the presence of many millions of Burmese Myanmar migrants who are living and working in Thailand. And officially we have 2 million, but unofficially it can be twice. And so, which is about 10% of our population, which is quite a big number. And they, of course, they work very hard, and at the same time, especially under the COVID pandemic, they also suffer quite a bit. And then, they lost a job, but they also cannot go back to Myanmar because of the COVID and also because of the crisis there. So usually they will hang on in Thailand. And I think this is where I also want to thank Thai communities for helping our migrant workers, because without your community support, they won't be able to survive for the whole year. But nonetheless, when we, last month, we had a lot of discussions with these community groups in southern Thailand, around Phuket, Ranong area, and also in Bangkok, Samut Sakhon, Samut Prakan area, and also in the northern Chiang Mai area. Everywhere in Thailand, there are many Burmese migrant workers, and then they need a lot of help in terms of sustaining their, faith in the power of Buddha, and then also to keep united among the community, and also to learn from the sufferings. But unfortunately, they have a lot of language problems, and then so when they need some sort of help, usually they also dare not to go to the Thai monastery to seek help because of the language barriers. So this is another area that IBSC also wants to have some sort of support programs for these migrant workers. And then usually what local Thai authorities ask us is, are there any partners in Thailand? And then so maybe perhaps this is something that you may be able to consider helping us, so that we can work under the MOU with you, but try to help our workers, and then that way we can become the bridge between the Thai communities, Thai monasteries, and our community members. And so, yeah, with the humble plea for your kind considerations, we will be very grateful if you can help us with the scholarship for our students, any research support, and also help us to do our religious services in our communities in Thailand. Thank you very much.
We try to propose us. I think it would be possible. Because so far I know many people from new country, and some of them they support our most venerable Prabhupada Pandit. I think for scholarship it would be possible because as you said, as you mentioned, now we are facing conflict and complicated situation in your country. Not just your country, in Thailand, everywhere around the world, we are facing conflict situation. So, if you have a chance to learn peace study, they might have a tool to deal with conflict everywhere, especially in your country or in Thailand as well. So we will think about that. And another thing, so far we have a club at our college. I think that club come from Myanmar, come from Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos. So our students, they established this club and they work together closely. So when we open, here is our student, is DL student. So I think I'm inspired them all. And of course we work together with Venerable naming that. So we might have a short course or diploma or certificate to inspire Burmese people being here, because every month, last year, because before COVID, I saw many Burmese people who come here to give dana. I think Venerable can affirm about this matter. So I think there is no problem. Venerable naming us being here already, we can assist you to inspire many Burmese people who is in Thailand at this moment. It's no problem. For the research, of course, we have to work together closely about it. So I would like to put whatever you propose us into our MOU to find a way to work together. Anything else? Venerable Ramita, please.